Praise the Lord. Nkonyenye Mama Bubune, Josephine Bediame. A brief history of the Ewe land. An introduction to the history, culture, and customs of the Ewe people. There are hundreds of ethnic groups in Africa, and most have their own languages, tradition, and cultures. This short presentation will focus on the Ewe people and their incredible story. The history of the Ewe people. Prior to the transatlantic slave trade and colonization, Ewe land stretched from Accra to Lagos, Nigeria, and was called the Kingdom of Judea. During the trade and colonization, it was called the Slave Coast, but to the people, it was Ebonyiba, meaning Ewe land. Some archaeologists' evidence suggests that they can be traced back to the 13th century to Oyo, Nigeria. Other oral and archaeological tradition suggests that a series of migrations started in the 11th century and that the present Ewe settled in Ghana in the early 17th century. It is also said that the Ewe people might have spent time in Israel, Egypt, Southern Sudan, and Ethiopia. When the British, Belgian, French, German, Portuguese colonies created borders in the 19th century, the Ewe people were divided. The Ewe-speaking of West Africa inhabits the areas between the River Volta in the modern Ghana and the River Mono on the western border of the ancient Kingdom of Benin. This has meant that the Ewe people, like many ethnic groups in Africa, have developed different dialects amongst themselves and are ruled by different governments. One of their most famous and exciting stories is their escape from Nochie and tyranny of King Agokoli. After the Ewe people were divided, their stories were even used by Ewe tribe to argue that the Ewes are one people with one common language. The division has led to some religious and cultural differences, but the Ewe people are strongly united by their language and especially known for their vibrant and unique tradition and cultures and festivals. The Ewe people also know how to party. It is said that even under King Agokoli's tyranny, they were still recognized for their music and dance. There are many festivals throughout the year, and one of the largest is called Hogbochocho from the Anglos. The Hogbochocho festival is held in the Anglo region on the first Saturday in November. It is known as the Festival of Exodus, which celebrates the escape from King Agokoli. The chiefs dress in their finest clothes, and there is plenty of dancing, drumming, drinks in celebration of their freedom. Over the years, the festival has drawn bigger and bigger crowds and has become a light-hearted celebration and account of the Ewe legend. During the re-enchantment of the escape from Nochie, King Agokoli is portrayed as a bubbly and drunkard fool rather than an evil tyrant. Another fascinating part of Ghanaian Ewe culture is the significance of naming their children. They choose names that signify either the spirituality of the parents or the time and circumstance of the childbirth. The name may also refer to the day of the week that the child is born. However, they are given another name once the child's personality develops. Escape from Nochie. Much has been said about their famous migration story, and the tale is significant for the Ewe people. Legend has it that King Agokoli gave all sorts of difficult tasks to the Ewe people. He ordered them to build the city walls with mud, glass, rocks, and stones, using only their bare hands and feet. It is even said that they were asked to make a rope out of clay. To avoid punishment from the king, they asked him to provide them a sample of the clay rope because they have not seen one before. They were severely punished if they refused to obey these orders, and so their lives were extremely difficult. King Agokoli also demanded that the Ewe people kill the elders to stop them getting any wisdom and experience. However, according to the story, one elder was hidden, and he came up with an escape plan. His name was Tegli. His cunning plan was that the women should throw wastewater against one spot of the wall whilst they were washing their clothes and dishes. When they did this, the wall became soft, and all the people gathered near the wall and started to play music. Whilst they did this, late at night, Tegli carved open a hole in the wall with the sword of liberation, which created space for the women and the children to climb out. According to legends, the men walked out backwards so that their footprints would not show that they were leaving. When King Agakoli's men were searching for the Ewe people, they were very confused by the tracks and could not find them. It was a brilliant and perfectly executed plan. The escape from Nochie had been told orally by generation to generation. To some details may be difficult depending on where they are. But for everyone, the story teaches us the value of our elders and working together. The Ewes used to live under the rule of an overlord king, just like the Ashantis have the Asantehene. But after the suffering they received under the tyrant King Agakoli that brought their escape from Nochie, they decided never again to be ruled by one king. Customs. There are just a few of the customs practiced by the Ewe people. Patrilineal society, one belongs to the tribe of his or her father. 1 Corinthians 1-9. Male circumcision on the 8th day, Genesis 17:9-10. Practice of knocking, the Hebrewic marriage process, Genesis 24:3. Rebecca is married to Isaac. Mandatory purification rite after touching the dead body, Numbers chapter 19:11-12. Pouring of liberation, the drink offering and animal sacrifice, Numbers 28:7. Language, Ewe. Classification, the Ewe language belongs to the Kwa branch of the Niger-Congo family of the languages, where spoken purest form in Ghana and Togo, but spoken in Benin, southwest Nigeria, and taught in some universities in Germany, UK, and US. Modern day, many of the modern day Ewe people are farmers, blacksmiths, fishermen, spinners, weavers, and traders. The women usually work as merchants who buy and sell materials. The Ewe people have a great sense of family, and the families remain very close throughout their lives. The founder of Ewe community is a chief. He is succeeded by his son or his male relative when he dies. This type of community is called patrilineal community. All members of the family are honored, and this includes the extended family as well, such as cousins and grandparents. The chiefs must follow many rules whilst they are in charge. They must keep their hairs covered in public, and they cannot be seen drinking, as the chiefs must always be ready to communicate with their ancestors. They are also not allowed to look the face of the corpse or to touch a corpse, although they may oversee funerals if the body is already buried. The Ewe people are also known for being very independent, especially the women. Many of their decisions are made by the elders or the chiefs within each village. They even have their own flag. These are some of the historic insights into the Ewe people, but there are countless other stories and fascinating rituals that belong to this wonderful group. Akpenami.